The abbey stands in silence, its walls holding secrets of a century. Shadows stretch across the stone, and a storm gathers in the distance. A voice breaks the stillness. Every story has a final chapter, and this one begins where all others must end. The screen fades from black. A slow orchestral score begins, gentle strings that rise and fall like a whisper. We see the first image, dawn creeping over the rolling English countryside. The camera glides across fields bathed in golden light, the morning mist wrapping around the trees like an old memory refusing to let go. In the distance, Downton Abbey rises, tall and proud, yet softened by the years. Its towers and windows glow faintly as the sun touches them, a reminder that time moves forward even as stone stands still. The gates open, carriages roll in, servants hurry about, adjusting uniforms, polishing silver, preparing for another day that feels much like yesterday. The rhythm of life continues, yet an air of unease hangs in every corner. We glimpse Carson's gloved hands setting a table, Mrs. Hughes arranging flowers with quiet precision. Their work is flawless, but their eyes betray a knowledge that something is coming, something that will change everything. The narrator's voice grows clearer, solemn and steady. For generations, Downton has stood as a beacon of tradition, of family, of home. But time is merciless, and even walls this strong cannot escape its touch. The visuals deepen. Empty rooms filled only with sunlight, the echo of footsteps in long corridors, and a grand piano untouched in the drawing room. The audience senses the weight of history pressing down, urging them to hold on to every moment. Then the tone shifts slightly. The music swells, a note of hope mixed with sorrow. Lady Mary stands by the window, her gaze sharp yet heavy with thought. Lord Grantham walks alone across the gardens, his cane pressing into the earth, each step slower than the last. A door creaks open, revealing the grand dining hall, once alive with laughter, now holding only silence. The narrator whispers again. Downton Abbey has seen wars, weddings, scandals, and triumphs. But now, it faces its greatest test of all, the end of an era. The section closes with a wide shot of the Abbey as storm clouds gather above, casting long shadows across the estate. The music cuts suddenly to silence, leaving the audience with one question echoing in their minds. What happens when the final curtain falls? The silence shatters with the sound of thunder. A flash of lightning streaks across the sky, and the Abbey's grand silhouette appears against the storm. The orchestral score returns, deeper now, drums echoing like a heartbeat. The camera glides through the front gates, moving slowly toward the mansion, as though drawing us into the heart of its secrets. We see the servants again, but this time, their motions are hurried, almost frantic. A letter falls from a tray, its wax seal breaking across the stone floor. The words on the page blur in the rain, but a single phrase stands clear. The future of Downton lies in doubt. The narrator's voice pierces the growing storm. Every family faces choices, but not every choice decides the fate of a legacy. The visuals shift. Montage flashes like fragments of memory. Lady Edith clutches a newspaper headline, her face pale in the morning light. A land deed changes hands, the signature unfinished. In the stables, a horse stamps its hoof, sensing tension in the air. Upstairs, servants exchange uneasy glances, whispers trailing down corridors that once held only pride and laughter. The score builds with strings and horns, swelling as we glimpse the Crawley family gathered around the dining table. Their voices overlap in a rising argument. We cannot let them take it. Downton is more than land, it is who we are. And yet, nothing lasts forever. The voices cut to silence. The camera lingers on Lady Mary, her expression torn between duty and despair. She looks to her father, Lord Grantham, who lowers his eyes, unable to meet hers. The narrator returns, quieter now, heavy with truth. Every wall carries history. Every stone remembers. But even memory cannot shield what is to come. The storm outside rages louder. Curtains whip in the wind, candles flicker. A door slams shut in the darkness. The Abbey itself seems alive, as if resisting the change pressing at its doors. The music rises to a crescendo, then stops abruptly, leaving only the sound of rain tapping against glass. The section ends with a single haunting image. Downton Abbey standing tall, but surrounded by gathering shadows. The narrator whispers, "The future will be written within these walls." But at what cost? The storm begins to fade. The rain softens into a steady drizzle, and a pale sun pushes through the heavy clouds. The camera lifts above the Abbey's roof, revealing carriages pulling up the gravel drive, their wheels crunching against the stones. The faint sound of a clock chimes in the distance, each toll echoing like a call to destiny. Then, a pause. The orchestral music shifts, swelling with warmth and grandeur. The Abbey doors open wide, and through them, figures emerge from shadow. Familiar silhouettes step forward, carrying with them both nostalgia and a sense of finality. First, we see Lady Edith stepping out of a motor car, her gloved hand tightening on her coat as she gazes at the estate. Then, a soft cut to Tom Branson lifting a child from the carriage, his smile hopeful despite the uncertainty in his eyes. The music grows richer, fuller. Footsteps echo as they enter the great hall where Carson waits. His old hands tremble slightly as he adjusts his bow tie, but his voice, steady and loyal, carries through the silence. "Welcome home." A rush of emotion fills the screen. We see Mrs. Hughes standing at his side, her eyes shining with both pride and worry. Anna and Bates exchange a quiet glance, a reminder that love endures even when times grow dark. The Abbey, once filled with doubt, begins to stir with life again. The narrator's voice returns, steady and strong. Every reunion is more than a memory. It is a reminder of what we fight to protect. The montage quickens. The family gathers in the drawing room, the firelight casting golden hues on their faces. Mary and Edith lock eyes, sisters bound by history, divided by choices. Tom clasps Lord Grantham's hand, a bond forged through struggle and resilience. In the background, laughter bursts from the kitchen as Daisy and Mrs. Patmore prepare a meal, the heartbeat of Downton's lower halls still alive and well. For a moment, the music softens, leaving only the sound of a single piano key. The camera pulls back, showing all the familiar faces together under the Abbey's roof. Family, servants, and friends united once more. But the joy does not erase the shadows. The narrator warns, when the past and present meet, the future must choose its path. The section closes with one striking image. The Abbey's great doors shutting behind them, sealing the family within. Outside, the last drops of rain fall, and the camera lingers on the gates, as though guarding secrets yet to be revealed. The music sharpens, strings rising like a blade being drawn. The warm glow of reunion fades, replaced by shadows creeping through the Abbey's corridors. The camera glides down a dim hallway, candles flickering against the stone, their flames threatening to go out. A door bursts open, an argument spills into the silence. Voices clash, urgent and raw. Lady Mary stands in the center of the dining hall, her voice low but fierce. "If we give in, we lose everything." Lord Grantham rises slowly, his hand gripping the table for strength, his eyes weary yet unyielding. Perhaps everything is already lost. The score grows heavier. A montage unfolds, images flashing like broken glass. Edith throws down a letter, her face pale with anger. Branson slams a door, his footsteps echoing down the stone corridor. Servants huddle in whispers, their eyes wide as rumors spread faster than truth. In the kitchen, a tray shatters to the floor, silver scattering like fallen hopes. The narrator's voice cuts through, tense and foreboding. Loyalties will be tested, secrets will be revealed, and love will face its hardest trial. We glimpse forbidden moments, two hands brushing in secrecy, a tearful embrace in the stables, a letter burned before it can be read. Then darker images, a doctor's hand clutching a stethoscope, a pale figure resting in bed, candlelight casting long shadows over worried faces. The Abbey itself feels fragile, its walls no longer shelter but witness. A storm brews once more outside, lightning flashing against stained glass windows. At the dinner table, raised voices reach their breaking point. This is not about tradition. It is about survival. Survival without honor is nothing. The music surges into chaos, then cuts to silence. The camera focuses on Carson standing alone in the empty hall. His voice, breaking with emotion, whispers, "Downton is not just stone and mortar. It is family. And family must endure." The section closes with a sudden rush of imagery. Lady Mary in tears, Edith staring into firelight, Branson clutching his child, servants scattering in panic as thunder shakes the walls. The Abbey's chandeliers sway, their crystals trembling as if the building itself feels the weight of what is coming. The narrator whispers one last line, "When everything you know begins to crumble, who will you trust when the walls fall silent?" The storm outside has not passed. It lingers, pressing against the Abbey's stone walls like an omen that will not be ignored. The music drops to a haunting piano melody, each note echoing as though played in an empty hall. The camera drifts through the Abbey's corridors, the library heavy with dust, portraits of ancestors watching from the walls. The dining hall abandoned, silverware untouched. The silence feels alive. Then, a voice. Lord Grantham, tired, resolute. "We cannot hold the past forever. The question is, what shall we leave behind?" His words hang in the air as the camera cuts to Lady Mary, standing before a window streaked with rain. Her reflection looks back at her, fractured, as if she must choose between two futures. The music swells slowly. We see Edith, letter in hand, torn between duty to her own family and the legacy of Downton. Branson stands in the stables, clutching his child close, whispering words of comfort that sound more like promises he isn't sure he can keep. The servants gather in hushed circles, eyes searching one another's faces for strength, for certainty, for hope. The narrator's voice returns, softer than before, yet sharper with meaning. In the end, every legacy is not built on walls, but on choices. The screen flickers with moments that carry the weight of finality. A deed laid on the table, the ink glistening in candlelight, a hand refusing to sign. Mary's voice, trembling but strong. "If Downton falls, it will not be because we surrendered. It will be because we dared to fight." The score rises into an aching swell of violins and horns. The montage quickens. Carson closing the Abbey gates, Mrs. Hughes lighting a candle in the chapel, Edith turning her head away as tears streak her cheeks. Lord Grantham collapses into a chair, his hand covering his face, torn between pride and defeat. Then, silence. The piano stops. A single heartbeat echoes in the dark. The Abbey appears again in full view, its windows glowing faintly against the night, like a fortress of memory refusing to die. The narrator whispers one final question. When the walls whisper of the past, who will decide its future? The screen cuts to black. A sudden crash of drums breaks the silence. The screen ignites with motion, images flashing one after another, sharp, breathless, unstoppable. The music swells into a thunderous symphony, violins racing as if time itself is running out. A bride's veil sweeps across the screen, catching sunlight as bells toll in the distance. A wedding procession moves through the Abbey, but the joy in the air is undercut by tension in the faces watching. Cut! Carson stumbles in the hallway, gripping the wall for support. His loyalty is unshaken, but his body falters. Cut! Edith holds a child tightly, eyes wet with tears as she whispers a promise. "You will always have a home." The montage accelerates. Horses thunder across the countryside. Carriage wheels splash through mud. A letter is torn in half. Flames consume a sheet of parchment as voices cry out in the background. A soldier's boots march in formation, the sound like drums of war echoing in the Abbey's heart. For a heartbeat, the chaos stills. Lady Mary stands alone in the great hall, the chandeliers above her glowing like constellations. She raises her head, her voice firm and unyielding. Downton will endure, no matter the cost. The music surges again, more desperate now. A casket draped in flowers, Tears streak across familiar faces in candlelight. A hand slams a carriage door shut. The abbey gates swing closed as storm winds howl. A kiss stolen in the shadows. A secret whispered in the dark. A final toast raised in the dining hall. Glasses trembling as they meet. The camera pulls back. We see Downton Abbey lit from within, every window glowing like fire against the storm. The music rises to its peak. The choir joining the orchestra. Voices echoing with both triumph and tragedy. And then, silence. The abbey stands alone in the fading light, the camera drifting higher and higher until the estate is but a shadow beneath the clouds. The screen fades to black. Words appear, slow and deliberate, each carrying the weight of inevitability. The storm has passed. The night sky clears to reveal a silver moon casting its glow over the abbey's towers. The estate is quiet now, its windows dark, its halls resting in silence. The music returns, soft and mournful, a single violin carrying the weight of centuries. The camera glides slowly across the grounds. Empty carriages stand by the gates. The fountain in the courtyard trickles faintly, its sound echoing in the stillness. Inside, the abbey is nearly motionless. Chairs tucked in, fireplaces extinguished, doors closed. It feels less like a home and more like a memory, preserved in time. The narrator's voice emerges one final time, calm and reflective. Every story leaves an echo. Every family leaves a mark, and every ending is the beginning of remembrance. We see flashes, brief, delicate glimpses of what has been. Edith and Mary as young girls running down the stairs, Carson raising his glass in a quiet toast, Lady Sybil's laughter from years past. These moments play like faded photographs, warm but fleeting, dissolving into light. The music swells gently, not triumphant, but full of grace. Lady Mary stands once more by the great window, her figure cast in silhouette against the dawn. She breathes deeply, her voice steady. Whatever comes, Downton will live on, in us, in all who came before, in all who will remember. The camera pulls back for the last time, rising above the abbey, higher and higher, until the great house becomes part of the landscape. A monument to history, family and time itself. The choir hums softly, fading into silence. Black screen. A single line appears, white against the darkness. Every legacy has its final chapter. After a pause, the title slams into view with thunderous impact.